plate that you didn't plan on having, right? I can't imagine. The politics part of it would be the part that I wouldn't like.
It's a lot of learning.
Okay, it looks like we're live now.
Okay, then
Go
I'll
ahead
go
and
ahead
start.
and call the meeting to order. First, 6. Please call the roll.
I can do that.
Okay.
We have Mike Morrow,
Present.
Christopher Burkholder,
Present. Online.
James Hutchins here. For the next Lieutenant Colonel Edgecombe.
Present.
You, Richard Field,
Present.
Judith Kiss,
Present.
and Benjamin Wigton.
Present.
And a new member.
He was on there.
Okay.
Yep. We got James Hutchins. Okay.
Okay.
Julie Hoy is here also, guys.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Julie.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and approve the agenda. If everyone's had a chance to review it, if there's no changes.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second. Don't forget to do a roll call vote or just all in favor.
You might want to add to the agenda election of officers because it's not on the agenda.
Okay. We just talked about that, you're right. Okay. So restarting, we'll add action items number 6, election of officers for 2026. So I'm looking for a motion for the agenda as amended.
I motion to approve the agenda as amended. I second.
And I guess let's do a roll call vote then.
Mike Morrow.
Aye.
Christopher Burkholder,
Aye.
James Hutchins. Aye. Lieutenant Colonel Edgecombe.
Aye.
Richard Field,
Aye.
Judith Kiss,
Aye.
and Benjamin Wigton.
Aye.
Okay.
Very good. And if everyone's had a chance to review the minutes, there were some amendments that I saw go around. I'm going to use those now. Do we actually have an updated amended minutes with the new
We should. That was
corrections?
sent out on Friday, the updated one, and then
Did it get sent or added to the calendar? Like
Added to the
invite?
calendar.
Okay, so then I have the current one, I think.
it should have the manager report and or the one that was sent out today. It should have the manager report and the power report.
I motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second. Okay, let's do a roll call vote, please.
Mike Morrow,
Aye.
Christopher Burkholder,
Aye.
James Hutchins, Lieutenant Colonel Edgecombe,
Aye.
Richard Field,
Aye.
Judith Kiss,
Aye.
and Benjamin Wigton.
Aye.
Passes.
On to number 4. Do we have any public comment that was submitted electronically or in writing?
Vanessa, do you have that?
I didn't see any in the folder.
Okay. I didn't see any coming in there.
Okay. And do we have anyone on the line who wishes to make public comment?
Looks like it's just us.
Alrighty then. Then we'll move on to number 5, reports. Our chief.
Yeah, so I will provide that one for Rob Boyle in his absence. Touches the monthly count. We do have our yearly total numbers, which were down slightly over 2024 numbers. So it looks like just over 2,000 operations less than last year. Rob did not report any DPDs or incidents or aircraft emergencies. So sounds like everything was pretty successful.
Just to touch on the aircraft down, we had a tough year last year. The government shut down for 6 weeks, so we lost probably about 500 of those flights.
Okay.
So yeah, it's quite a bit. Yeah, 6 weeks is a long time for us to not fly.
good to know.
And it may happen again here in a week or 9 days. Yeah, we'll see.
Okay, and airport manager's report?
Yeah, so that was sent out, like I said today, I apologize for getting out late. We didn't have any new noise complaints come in, but one of the major things that I wanted to touch on first line is the security defederalization that officially went through from the TSA. So really that has three components that are areas that we're tracking on or looking at. The first one is going to be the staff reassignment. So the TSA staff that was assigned to Salem will be receiving letters telling them that the Salem base is no longer existing and that they can choose to relocate to either Portland or Eugene or really whatever airport they want to go to in the nation. As far as I know, those letters have not been received yet, but they are expected in the coming weeks. So for now, the TSA staff still reporting to Salem and then being distributed out to Portland or Eugene, depending on the need. The bigger component that we deal with more on a day-to-day, is the suspension of the airport security program oversight. So that's really an administrative, I guess, role that the TSA usually evaluates our airport performance against our security program. So they'll come in and inspect us. We provide audit data to them, which they look at and evaluate. All of that has been suspended, so they are no longer inspecting us, which means that we can make changes or adjustments to our program without getting permission to do it first, which is really beneficial to us in a way because now we can, for example, change our badges from an annual renewal badge to every 2 years, and we don't have to get permission to do that. And then if in the future we refederalize, then that change will be in place and it'll still be within the confines of the I guess regulations. But it took a step out for us to be able to make that change. One of the bigger components of that is that we lost access to FBI background checks and security threat assessments. So we no longer have the ability to run bachelors through those systems. In my 2.5 years here, I haven't seen a single hit on a security threat assessment. We did have some criminal history records checks come back, but no security threat assessments. So we don't anticipate that would represent any type of a threat to us or any issues as we issue badges. The plan is really to keep everything operating the same, really not change much. That way, when we do refederalize, we can dust off the security program and send it back through for approval. Again, administratively, that would be expected to take a relatively short amount of time, given that we have everything still in place. Without having access to the background checks or security threat assessments, we will have to go back and re-vet some of those people that wouldn't have been vetted otherwise. But again, not a huge task. It would just be getting citizenship information and putting them through the system, which we can do in bulk. We can do a bulk upload of that. Okay, so then the other part of this, the security screening equipment is no longer being utilized because of the defederalization. So the TSA has listed it in their internal systems as being available. To date, we have not heard of any murmurs of that leaving. So it really depends on another airport saying we want this or we want pieces of this, and they can come in and take components or all of it or whatever they need. The other option is that the TSA decides to pull all the equipment out and store it in their warehouse until it can be distributed out to another airport. That hasn't happened. Our local TSA has expressed that they don't think that will happen, but headquarters could decide to do any of that. So
Does that help the case for another airline to come in if it's
It
already
does.
pre-existing?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yep.
just one less hurdle they have to wait for.
one less hurdle that they have to wait for. That's exactly it. So yeah, that's really the big thing is as soon as the equipment starts leaving in whatever order it goes, it could be really difficult to get it back, or it could be relatively easy depending on what leaves. For example, our checked baggage scanner was really difficult to get. It took a lot of political capital, a lot of pressure to get it, and they've told us straight up that it won't be back if it leaves. So, and that's okay. We could go back to screening by hand. That's not a problem, but it takes a little bit more effort to do that. So depending on what equipment leaves, it could be more challenging or less challenging if we were to refederalize. So that we're in a good state right there. That where we're sitting today is good. We're okay with it. It's not ideal. Losing the TSA staff is really unfortunate. It's unfortunate for them as well. You know, they were most of them are based here in Salem, so they report to work here at Salem, and then they're paid to travel to their base or to their work location. So that will change. They'll have to get themselves to work and then be paid from there. So other than that, yeah, it really hasn't changed a lot of our day-to-day.
Can you summarize for us, in as much as you know, other impacts there have been on the other equipment, like, you know, the passenger loading truck, as well as other personnel, non-TSA personnel, if there's been any impacts there? And then if there's any budgetary impacts, good or, you know, for positive or negative.
With the TSA specifically?
Right.
Yeah, so there hasn't been any other changes personnel wise with TSA with the defederalization. The passenger loading vehicles, or the I guess the airline ground service equipment, has been stored as well as we can. We don't have a lot of covered space, so we kind of put it under what we can. But it's still there. It gets started up and kind of cycled every month. The FBO will come out and take care of that for us. So they're still putting it through the spaces. We do have an operator that comes in with a 737 occasionally. The boarding bridge will be pulled out and utilized for them. So it does get some use, but it's definitely kind of in a mothball state. Really, that's we're hoping that that's sustainable for a little bit longer, that we can keep kind of nursing things along.
And there are any budgetary impacts of the defederalization at this point?
Not from the defederalization. The TSA really doesn't have a lot of budgetary authority for us. They don't give us grants or anything like that. Everything goes through the FAA and the Airport Improvement Program. So on the TSA side, there isn't any, and we don't expect there to be any in the future. One of the things that we are keeping an eye on is our employments. So the FAA funding is tied to the number of employments that we have. Once we reach a 10,000 employment threshold, then we go from $150,000 a year to $1.3 million a year. So it's a huge increase in our capital budget. So that's the part that we're looking at. We just have to achieve 10,000 employments this year and we'll be set. So we have that through 2027.
And what was that again? 10,000 what?
10,000 employments. So people boarding the aircraft.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So originating out of Salem is where we get that number, and it has a lag. So that's why we have the funding through 2027. There's about a year and a half delay. So
and that's part 121 employments.
It's
Eric here.
it could be 135 as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do we have a way to log 131, 135?
It would just be reported through DOT. Yeah, so like sports team charters, those will count for us as well.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Fine. So, I'm wanting to have some clarity on if we were able to find another commercial carrier who maybe only did 2 or potentially 4 flights a week. We would definitely be able to get to that employment amount so that we could increase the opportunities of FAA grants.
Yes.
And so based on what you're saying is this Salem Airport might be able to get there to have that higher level grant without commercial air service, or really do we need at least a couple flights a week if we can get a carrier?
We would need a couple flights a week. That would be ideal. So for example, with the Velo, we were just over 10,000 appointments
Okay.
through August. So when they pulled out in August, we'd just passed that threshold.
So we're still in that window of eligibility.
Yeah,
But as time progresses, if we don't have another commercial carrier, then we would fall off of not being able to have
Yeah.
grants to the extent that would be nice. to have.
exactly. At some point, that tipping point where we need more frequency because we have less time would come in. So yeah, for now, we're in a really good window. We're still operating as normal. The funding is still coming in like normal, but once we start getting into that range of, we might not be hitting that 10,000 appointments, and that's when we switch back over to the $150,000 entitlement is what it's called from the thing.
So, and when I speak to my constituents who are, who struggle with the idea of having 100,000 a year for 3 years in the minimum revenue guarantee because they feel it's their tax dollars, I try to explain how that 300,000 leverages potential millions
Absolutely.
of the ag grants. And I think that many didn't realize that, because when I say that, when I explain that, it really is a leverage for the possibility of high grants so that we don't have to have taxpayers paying for taxiway and runway repairs and maintenance. And then it kind of like, oh, okay, because I explained that it'll be your tax dollars that will be paying for that if we don't have enough appointments. So I just wanted to understand that we have a little window
Yep. we do.
because of Bello having been here. And
When does that window end?
It really would be kind of theoretical. For example, if we're sitting in September and an airline comes in with 5 flights a week, then we could easily hit it. That would be, if we get a couple flights a week, then I guess we could do that in 8 months. So
But it's also prorated a little bit too, isn't it?
yeah, there is, and that's way above my head. There is a proration factor once you get above a certain number of enplanements, and it's so many dollars per person, and that's I saw the math on that, and
So it would be ideal to get somebody go in the summer.
that would be the ideal. If we had somebody in the summer, we could likely achieve it.
But if we had like 7,500 enplanements instead of 10,000, we wouldn't go all the way down to 150,000, we would be somewhere.
Correct, we get a portion, yeah. Mhm.
but there is a window.
Yes.
And so fingers crossed still, even though because I'm, as you know, Ward 2, a lot of people around here aren't too happy with the idea of a lot of planes landing because of noise, because of pollution. And and so my argument is, but that minimum revenue guarantee is leverage to be able to ensure that we're able to have grants that pay for maintenance.
Yeah.
Have we had any interest in airlines coming to Salem at all?
Yeah, we're still in conversations.
Okay.
The talks are still ongoing. There have been a few airlines express interest. The airline industry is interesting right now, with some pending bankruptcies and some acquisitions that are going on. So a lot of what we're seeing is a wait and see attitude. We want to kind of see what's happening with an airline that might go bankrupt. And then if that happens, then, they would swoop in and take as many routes or as many airplanes or whatever they could get out of that sell off. So unfortunately, we're kind of stuck in a spot where they don't want to commit to anything and then pull out and go somewhere else. And that would be even more detrimental to us if they said they were going to start and then decided not to.
Is there a time frame on when we expect to hear something, or like are we talking 6 months?
There's a consultant that works with, and so, I don't have privy to that information. It doesn't get shared with me until something happens. I think, I don't know if Mark has anything that he can share. I think too, there's big concerns that if some of this equipment does get taken, then less likely there'll be interest because we wouldn't be able to move fast enough. So timing is everything, and also being 60 miles north of Eugene and 60 miles south of Portland, it puts us in a little tighter hopeful pattern, I guess, just not sure. And what also is so interesting is constituents, people, citizens believe that, oh, if it's Alaska, if it's Delta, then it would become and it would stay, and that would be great. But it's very unlikely that we would have that type of a carrier here just because of the proximity to the other airports. So we're in that, like the wallflower right now, seeing if anybody will pick us to dance. But it also makes it a little uncertain on the longevity of it all.
Yeah, what I can tell you is our aviation consultant is looking out for our best interests, is in constant communication with all the different airlines that are interested in serving the West Coast. Aaron really summed it up very well. The industry is just in a wait and see mode. Are there turf battles out west here? Sure. Why wouldn't there be? People, airlines want to protect their markets, and so we are caught in this wait and see situation. I don't know if we lose the equipment, if that's like the death knell. I don't think it is. I think it depends on when it left, how much of it left, just like Aaron said. Some equipment we might get back rather easily. Some equipment we might take longer. We're trying to be very optimistic. We understand that there are market forces that are greater than Mark Bechtel and Aaron Eisen. We just have to wait it out, and we are sending Aaron to an air service conference in April, where you have interview slots with the different airlines, and you plead your case as to why they should serve your community and what you can do for them and what they can do for you. And so Aaron and our aviation consultant and maybe a member of the fly sailing group, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
We'll send a contingent and lobby, press. Let them know that we are still very much open for business, and the sooner the better.
May I make a comment?
Yes.
This is Julie Hoy, and I just want to offer my help. If there's ever anything that I can do to be of help in this search and this effort, I'm here.
Yeah, thank you. I think that what I'm seeing is kind of that you alluded to the USA Today article that painted a pretty dire picture, right? I think what I'm seeing is that the attitude is maybe that we're down and out. It's a foregone conclusion that we're not able to do it. It's over now. So I would ask that we try to change that narrative, and that we shift that away from it's not happening to it absolutely can happen. We're still in a really good position to make it happen. The defederalization is more of a speed bump than anything, but it is by no means insurmountable, and it can relatively quickly flip around for us. So that would be kind of my ask is, let's see if we can change some of that perception of where we're at and be a little bit more.
Gotta get somebody on the statesman on our side.
Yeah. Count me in.
Yeah, and it was a good lesson for me. When the news asks to provide a blurb, and you provide a blurb, you answer the question, right?
Yeah.
And then you find out, wow.
Yeah.
Could I have done that?
it was a little bit more negative. So it was a good learning experience for me to maybe give it a more positive spin.
Yeah, well, thank you for doing that. And the negative Neds and Nellies will be there and we'll just rise above it
Yeah.
and get her done. So thanks for all your effort.
Yeah, thank you.
I'd like to add that, I had lunch at the flight deck last week with a friend. And what really dawned on me there at lunchtime when there was 4 jets parked there at the FBO, and these were large commercial business jets. Every table was taken at the flight deck with customers and aircraft taking off and landing. And this is business aircraft. It's not just leisure aircraft. And what I told my boss, the public works director, is that we really need to continue to promote and sell ourselves as a hub for business activity.
That's exactly right.
Because it wasn't, and nothing against the leisure aircraft, that's wonderful. Every aircraft is what we need. But when you have all those business aircraft there and they're all that creates a synergy, and it really needs to, it's a perception that we need to work on, that this is a business airport. It's general aviation is fantastic. It is a business airport.
Where's the next place that you could land a business jet for a lunch meeting with an FBO? You literally walk from your plane to the restaurant. I can't think of one right now.
Nothing close.
Yeah, not in the area.
I was really happy for the flight deck. I was really happy to see them, literally having people waiting for a table.
Yeah.
So that was great.
Yeah, the few times I've been there recently, it's always busy.
Yeah, yeah.
Always busy.
Yeah, and kind of to that point, I was having a conversation today with one of our maintenance operators, heavy maintenance. He was saying that they have 3 locations, Madras, Bend, and Salem. And Salem has become their jet center, so they're doing all their jet maintenance out of Salem. And that's his goal, is to really draw in some of the bigger business jets, mid-sized business jets. They actually have a heavy lift helicopter. I don't know if it came in, I forgot to check, out of Alaska, coming in to do an overhaul. So it'll be here for a month.
Yeah,
With
saw
all
the
of it.
trailers down there.
They brought it from this, so really cool stuff happening at Salem that we'll try to get the word out more on. That even I wasn't aware of how deep some of this stuff is going and how.
Well, there's no room at other airports. Hillsborough is so backed
Yeah.
up, they don't have any room, and same with Aurora. It's too busy. So
Yeah, and he was saying that people are coming in from the East Coast to come into Salem for service.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
Can I ask, just to, not to be a dead horse on airlines, but have we talked about like maybe deciding as a group or some entity of like what we would want out of them, where to go, instead of letting them dictate? Because that might be a different way of approaching it, like go to somebody with a plan, like Alaska Airlines, hey, we would love for you to fly from Salem to Seattle, because there's just so many more flights out of Seattle to go everywhere, international and whatever. Burbank, he's okay, but like, I just don't, Vegas was probably not a terrible idea, but maybe that's a way to lure somebody in. And I think a lot more people would want to fly to Seattle than Burbank. That's just I have no data to support that.
Control the current minimum revenue guarantee as it's currently configured. Does not have any federal component to it. So we can determine which cities or destinations would qualify for an airline to use that MRG for. So that's so name an airline and we say, this MRG money would be to serve Burbank or Las Vegas or Phoenix or Denver or
Denver be good.
or Bay Area or Seattle. We would determine what eligible destinations that money would be used for. Now, if we were to get another SCASD federal grant, that creates a federal component, and our understanding is, because we've already used the first SCASD grant with our first MRG with Avelo, we can't use it for the same cities over again. So if we got a federal component to it, it couldn't be used for Burbank or Vegas. So it'd have to be used for a different city.
Okay.
So there's, as much as federal money is great, there is a string attached there on destinations. Whereas our own MRG, we decide what destinations qualify.
Yeah, okay. How can we collect some data from local citizens that would be interested in that to see where that destination is? Is there a mechanism for that in the city website? I mean, can you pull something, or is this little bridge too far?
No, so we did commission a, what would we call it? A
Leakage study,
leakage study, yeah.
which doesn't sound impressive.
Yeah. But it did exactly what you're saying, so,
Okay,
they compiled and maybe we should send it out, I don't know.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what it did is it listed, the potential passengers. I'm forgetting all the terms on it. Anyway, and the top destinations that they would fly to. So we have a list of, like Phoenix, the LA Basin, and how many passengers in the area would utilize that service. And so, yeah, that's exactly what we do. We take it to the airlines and say, hey, look, this is the data that we have that's showing where people would travel to on a sailing. And then interestingly enough, out of when Abela was here, we had, I can't remember, 22% came in from Portland. Traveled from Portland to Salem to fly out.
Yeah, I think you could capture all of at least,
Yeah.
Tualatin, Wilsonville. It's really not any further, and it's just like I like flying out of Eugene versus Portland because I can park my car and I walk right into the
Yeah.
terminal. It's a small line, a TSA.
Absolutely, and in that sense, the proximity to Portland is really to our benefit, right? We're
Yeah.
pulling in a larger market that we wouldn't
Right.
otherwise be tapping into, and I'll have to get better numbers. Don't hold me on those, but yeah, I think we can send that out.
I think that's what we're trying out. I mean, and having a recent one, we had to scrimp and save to pay for that study, but having a recently completed one benefits us when we're recruiting an airline. Because we could say, hey, this is the most recent data on our travel shed, so.
Okay, great. Thank you. So,
Good
question, so-
good question. Let's see, I think that pretty well covers it, unless you guys have questions on any of the rest of the work.
Have you had any new feedback on the revenue, the landing parking fee stuff?
Yes, we have received some feedback. Largely a lot of the corrections that we've been making to the landing and parking fees have been because of base aircraft that either didn't show up on our report that should have, or maintenance aircraft that came in and spent a month under maintenance. So we make some corrections there. You can see those adjustments noted on the table here. Those are typically done after the fact, which is what we don't want to do. We'd rather catch them before they get billed, but those are bills that have been issued that had to get corrected. We have received some feedback from some of the larger operators that they feel the fee is a little high. The 737 that I was referencing earlier that we used the loading bridge on, they feel like the fee is, when compared to Bellingham, Washington, or Spokane, I believe they said Spokane is free. I'm not familiar with that one, but we are probably twice as high as Bellingham is. Now, if you take the airports in the area, we're lower than Eugene and Portland. But the Seattle Metro and North, we are higher.
When you say twice, I mean, what kind of numbers are we talking about? $100, $1,000, 10,000?
Yeah, so ours right now is $3 per 1,000 pounds. So for the 737 that comes in just over 100,000 pounds, you're looking at $300 per landing. So I want to say Bellingham is $1.50, $1.60, something like that. I know Boeingville, where I came from previously, is $1.50 per 1,000, and that's downtown Seattle.
And the employment equipment, do we charge them for the use of that?
We charge the FBO for the use of that. Yeah.
Okay.
If some of the FBO uses it, then we assess a fee on that. So yeah, that, and then our thresholds, yeah, go ahead, Julie.
Thank you. Just making a point that, you know, Bellingham is Bellingham. And I grew up there, and it's not Salem. It's not 60 miles from Eugene, and it's not 60 miles from Portland.
Yeah.
So it's a
That's a fair
different breed.
Yeah, that is a fair point. So, and that's, I guess the feedback we're receiving is, from some operators that it might be a little high, and from others they don't care.
Okay.
So it's kind of difficult to parse some of that out and really look for ways that make sense to either offer exemptions or say, no, this is how it's going to be, go with it. So really what we want to do is drive business in and for them to utilize our services and buy fuel and stuff like that without penalizing that. But it's kind of a balancing act. So
Okay.
we're looking at ways to either, I don't know, mold the system around or change the program to make more sense, or leave it as is, or
from standpoint of an operator here, aside from a few hiccups with, you know, aircraft that come in specifically for us to operate, you know, getting those corrected. I don't see a big deal with how it works for us on the airport. Maybe this is just an observation that's incorrect, but I look at those numbers and we're looking at a month of revenue that's more than an entire year that we previously collected.
easy. Yep.
Right, so this seems like a big win for the city and a very little pinch for most of the people that are coming in. $300 for a 737 is
Change.
correct.
Yeah.
So I think this is a very positive thing for us, for all the grumbling that's happened around. It really has not done any irreparable damage.
They didn't have to pay before, so they don't like it because they're having to pay now. That's what
Correct.
it amounts to.
Exactly right.
That's what it amounts to.
That rains more Bellingham.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I piggyback on that? And it kind of goes into kind of the other about the master plan on that, but we had talked about, you know, attracting business aviation and that being a big deal on here. Do we have anything that we put into the master plan to make the field a little bit more attractive for business aviation, to make that you know, just something that people would want to come in to do base aircraft for or whatnot?
That's a really good question. I don't know on the master plan where that would fit or really what effort was completed previously. They're still working on it.
Mm-hmm.
And in working on it, we're waiting on a couple of chapters to come out for us. The alternatives chapter is one. So we have check-ins with them every once in a while with the consultant. But
unless our master plan is coming up with it's allocating or using grant money, it's like planning ahead for federal grant money to plan a site that allows for a business to put in a large maintenance organization to make this a destination. So if you want to attract people here, if the proximity to business, like, so if you bring business in, business comes because it's proximate to Eugene or proximate to things happening in Salem or to Portland. We can't control that necessarily, but if we are planning to make this a destination for something, which is maintenance, repair, something that sets us apart, that people travel here specifically for, and we're starting to attract, we have Garmin dealers now that do work and sell repairs and modifications here in the field. There were 10 years without a Garmin or more without an avionics shop.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing that I think master plan can do, is if it's going to help business, it makes it an attractive place for a business to bring in that kind of thing. Business aviation is going to come if there's some reason to bring executives or people in, or they're going to come here because it's a great place to store your aircraft when Aurora has closures, or we have hangar facilities or whatever it is. That's what I think the function of the master plan is.
Yeah.
So I can speak a little bit to the master plan. It's been a while since we've been deep in it because first we kind of paused while we had commercial service, and see how that would play out. Then we had the second runway conversation, and that's been resolved. Each of those aspects had significant impact on where we kind of saw our trajectory going. Now,
Right.
I think so far, what I recall about the marching orders is that we're continuing on the assumption that we're gonna secure another carrier or more and continue with commercial service. This second runway, locking that in with the federal funding and everything, from a master planning standpoint, is more around what's developable around where would you focus the development for things like business aviation, more hangar space.
Right.
There's a lot of street facing access as well that can be exploited for business purposes to benefit the airport or the airport folks. So I think that is a big part of it. And for me personally, one of the things that I'm a big advocate for is planning for, skating to where the puck is going to be. So that's urban air mobility, that's electric capacity to charge electric aircraft, either short range or long range. And that's getting a ways out there on the tail end of a 20-year plan, but it's certainly something we're talking about because you have to start planning for that now. If, say, business aviation is going to pivot towards lots of short hops versus trying to bring in 737s, or if they're going to start to see more and more regional carriers that are running all electric, which it is feasible, it is possible that we'll see that. So I think it's a great point, the business side of things, and I think it is well represented in there. But as we go to the next round of feedback and comments, I would encourage everyone, both on this commission as well as anyone that's watching or anyone in the public, to review the plan and provide your inputs.
And that's coming in spring, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
The airfield layout plan. One of the things that we could look at adding, which we've already talked about doing, is to add more connector taxiways to the undeveloped hangar areas, so that one, it's in the layout plan. We know where they're going to go, and have that ready for funding. The other is we have been trying to see if we can put together funding to update the airport's business plan. The airport does have a strategic business plan, but it predates commercial air service. And so we could update that plan and not only reflect commercial air service, but a business aviation aspect. See if we could put more emphasis on that as well. So don't know if we have the money to do that right away. We're still trying to see how we can squeeze that out of the budget. But we're getting good at making turnip juice. We're squeezing turnips.
Staff are hitting amazing at squeezing as much as they can squeeze.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Anything else on the reports? I don't have a chair's report. We do have a few items to discuss on action items, so let's go ahead and move into action items. Starting with officer elections.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Morrow for a second term, if you'll accept.
I would accept.
I second it.
I'll third it.
That's not bad. Wait a minute, Chris.
As you know.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But it shows your support. I was trying.
Having a little fun.
Yeah, we'll do it individually. We had this debate last time, I think, individually versus a slate. So, yeah, I guess let's do a roll call vote on nomination.
Okay. Mike Morrow,
If I'm allowed to vote.
Chris Burkholder,
Aye.
James Hutchins. Aye. Lieutenant Colonel Edgecombe.
Aye.
Richard Field.
Yeah, aye.
Judith Kiss.
Aye.
And Benjamin Wood. Aye. Okay.
All right, let's move on to vice chair. I nominate Chris Burkholder.
I second.
I'm willing, I guess.
Oh.
Sounded so positive.
Are there any other candidates? I guess I should have asked that from the chair as well. Okay, roll call vote.
All right, Mike Morrow,
Aye.
Chris Burkholder,
Sure.
James Hutchins,
Aye.
Lieutenant Colonel Edgecombe.
Aye.
Richard Field,
Aye.
Judith Kiss.
Aye.
Benjamin Wigton.
Okay, we have our slate of officers for 2026. I'm gonna go ahead and move to commission discussion. I think this feels like that's a more appropriate location for 2 items. The first one is just gonna be a quick one from me, both for folks old and new. A reminder that when we're doing discussions, it's anytime we're just talking about anything that has to do with the airport or adjacent topics, if there are just like you and another person who chit chat, and that's fine, but if there is more than, I don't know what the minimum is, but I'm gonna say if there's more than 2 of you, it needs to be shelved and brought here, so that if we're having any, quorum level conversations, it's happening in full view of public records and all of that. So it gets, I know sometimes we're all nerds about all things aviation, so inevitably we get talking about different things. Just be aware of that. If it starts to encroach into an area where we're talking about airport business, shelve it and bring it here. And that goes for email as well.
Yeah.
So, use the reply all very carefully and cautiously, and only for logistical, I'm sick, I'm not gonna make the meeting kind of things. If it's any topic or anything discussing any of the topics in an agenda or in minutes, be very careful about that as well.
Yeah, and to add on to that, our city attorney actually made a really good point. He had a good suggestion to use a blind carbon copy. So when we send out mass emails, like for example, the one on the action item, if I would have done that in a blind carbon copy, then it would eliminate any reply all, right? So just as a protection, so that we don't get into that reply all state of conversation.
That's a great point. The last item was one that I think we were discussing over email, but we decided to talk about it here, which is the structure. Maybe, I don't know if you want to speak to this. You've been asked to review the AAC membership requirements and recommend any changes. Do you have any additional context you want to kick us off with?
Yeah, so the context is that as we evaluate, I guess, approvals or as these come up to the mayor level, having the appropriate structure is important in evaluating what those requirements are to make up the structure. So we were asked to just look through it and make sure that it looks okay, or that it fits what we need, or make recommendations to change it. So if there are items that you might see that could be adjusted, then this would be a good opportunity to put those into place, or to make those recommendations, send up the chain. So really that's
Aaron, do you have what they are?
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt, but do you have what they are, like the different requirements? I think it's award two pilots. Then I start getting fuzzy.
And then just the standing National Guard.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and those are the only ones that we have in our charter. So for example, the active pilot is what I think is how they word it. That could be maybe a little subjective, right? What defines active? We know that a pilot certificate doesn't expire, but it could be current or not current, right? So maybe that could use a little further definition, or maybe it's fine how it is. Just something to consider on how we do that. Or if there are additional requirements that you can think of, or like I said, leave it as is. That's just as good of a recommendation.
I always prefer vague and gray area nebulous, because otherwise you can pinch, like the military is really, really bad about defining it too much, and then it's too restrictive, and then it's you can't.
Then we're checking your logbook to make sure you're active.
Yeah.
I would wonder, like, so if we struggled to find candidates, I would wonder if maybe we should change. But I mean, I'm looking at this group, this very diverse group of backgrounds. Some of us are pilots, some of us aren't as active as others, but that isn't maybe the core competency that this is looking for. It's looking for community input, and I feel like we are still getting candidates, even though it takes some recruiting. Obviously, we have had, some turnover in the last couple of years of terms and et cetera. But looking over the requirements, they seem to be bringing the right people from the community to the table, my perception.
Yeah, and there's like 2 different people that I know of right off the bat that want to be in. I was just talking to Colonel about one that's a young guy. Coming up, I think it'd be great to have somebody like that in it too. So
Well, it seems like just in the recent couple of years, we've had the most challenge filling the Ward 2
Yeah.
slot. Is that you?
That's right.
Cool, thanks for.
You're welcome.
I wonder, I guess the only thought I would have, and I agree with your comment about not restricting it too much, but if anything, maybe open it up a bit where if we really get up rocking and rolling with commercial service, I think the original requirement for it's a resident of the city ward in which the airport is located. But I think by the same token, once you start talking about lots of heavy air traffic and activities like that, there's multiple wards, I think, that are going to be affected and involved with either the business side of it or the noise side of it or any number of places. So, and plus, given the challenge we've had historically finding a Ward 2, that might be one area, but I don't know that we need to do that right now since we haven't filled and we haven't filled for a while. That would be my only thought is the state.
Add additional words, is that what you're thinking?
Or at least expand, open it up. Not say you've got to have one from Ward 2, one from Ward 5 or whatever, because that's even more restriction. But I do like the idea of it being a cross section of stakeholders, right? We have airport businesses on site essentially. We've got a military component. We got pilots. I think that's kind of the key is having that cross section. And for full disclosure, I'm neither Ward 2 nor pilot. I'm the roving general. So maybe I represent the other wards. I don't know if you could say that, but yeah.
How is this up for periodic review by some type of mechanism, or it just seemed to be timely to talk about?
I don't know if there's a mechanism in place to review it.
I mean, every once in a great while, the council, boards and commissions committee will do a review of the different bylaws of the different groups. But it's not mandated by code that I'm aware of. That sometimes they might look at the bylaws and say, or they think they should be changed. Usually it just comes up through the committees and boards and commissions themselves, where they would like to improve or change the makeup of a board commission.
So theoretically, then, if we did see a rapid change in how the airport is utilized, and we felt like maybe certain representation was lacking, we could bring an action item to change the bylaws for this.
I don't know if we have the power to do that.
We could recommend.
Yeah. So right now it's set at 7, which I guess if we have 7, we have a full house right now, which is great. Thanks for going the extra mile there, Chris. Hopefully you're getting sleep.
Oh, here and there.
Isn't you, baby? Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the other one that comes to my mind with some of the other boards I've been on is 7. And a 7 if you have a lot of attrition, or people that can't make it if you're meeting really frequently. Then a little bit bigger, so you have some flexibility. That being said, I do want to bring up something which we are actually, as I'm reading this, not really following the prescripted rules of procedure, which is the commission shall meet in January and every other month thereafter. So for those that haven't been here very long, we used to meet it's like 4 times a year was the commitment, and it was often a short meeting, but we also didn't have a lot to talk about. We weren't doing master plan, we weren't doing commercial air service, we weren't doing some controversial stuff that came and went with the airport and with protests. And then we're doing whatever else we were doing recently.
And to cut section 9 that was open for revision. Airport code.
Rules and regs.
Yeah, so right now, we are meeting monthly. Are we not? We're meeting every month.
Every other month.
I thought we were meeting monthly.
No.
Every other month.
This one was a little weird.
Time dilation. Okay, then we are doing okay. I take that back. I guess there was a period though where we're meeting pretty regularly.
When I first came on, I think it was my predecessor. He helped get it changed to the quarterly, but yeah, it was monthly for many years.
Oh, that's right, it was quarterly and now we're doing every other.
Yes.
And it's been changed during here, so somehow there is a way to do that change so we can make those recommendations, okay.
I think it's been also a little bit confusing because I think we met in December, but not November, if my memory serves me right. So we've had.
We did change something.
No, we were in November.
Yeah, we met in November.
It was November? Okay.
Yeah.
COVID time dilation is still in effect, so.
Yeah.
The other thing, to your point, had I had known that this position was available, I would have signed up a lot sooner. So I think there's an opportunity with getting these openings out into the communities. To open it up right now, it appears to be word of mouth.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
like
pretty
you were
much.
basically Councilman Nishioka saw
Yep.
you. Okay, yeah.
Well, and she saw that I worked on aircraft. I was an aircraft mechanic for Madonna. They just all kind of fit into place, so.
Is it a 7 maximum or a minimum, or
It says 7.
so if there's a couple folks that still want to participate, do we turn them away or do we make this group larger? Hate to lose somebody that's willing to do it right now.
I think that's a fair question. It says structure pursuant to SRC 9.300. The commission consists of 7 members and the city manager or the city manager's designee, who serves as a non-voting member. Commission members are recommended by the boards and commissions committee and then are appointed by the mayor. And it goes into the specific demographic requirements.
Yeah, and they can apply anytime the applications are held for a year. So they can, I think there are a couple applications
Yeah.
in that will be held until.
If you have somebody interested, I would certainly encourage them to apply.
They did.
It does kind of
Yeah.
go into a
Actually, two.
black hole for a while
Yeah.
because you don't know, when they're meeting and when they're reviewed. And we have folks that have to leave for various reasons mid-cycle every year.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I was thinking too, we've changed it to Salem Willamette Valley Airport. But most of us are from Salem, right? What about Independence, Dallas, Turner? People that are also in the Willamette Valley here that were, should we pull some of those folks in so that information gets out into those areas too? I don't know. Just a thought.
We're a municipal airport.
Just a thought. Yeah. Yeah.
And technically under city property, under city leadership.
Mhm.
That would be probably a question for them.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm hearing nothing at this point.
What- Can I
Oh,
bring up one other thing? And I think we've done it unofficially, but we've pretty much always had a Garmin or another on-field business representative be a part of the conversation. And I think that's been a great to keep the cross section, like we're talking about, diverse and represented. I think that's always been a great voice to be a part of it. Is there any purpose of maybe making that official recommendation that we have at least one member from on field business representative? Yeah, because I think that's kind of always been from the time I've been there, it's always been in my case, experience has been a Garmin rep, but somebody from a on field based business has had a rep or had a commissioner.
I like that, and we have 2 right now, right?
Mhm.
You kind of count 2, so, and which reminds me, we need to do an intro after this. Forgot about that. I do like that. I think I would be generic in that. I'd be inclined because we have a lot of both businesses, but we also have like the nonprofit with the B-17 Alliance, and we have some other folks. I mean, we have FBO operators. We have the maintenance stuff we were hearing about. So if we could figure out some wording, maybe that's a conversation for the next meeting, perhaps, as we talk about how we want to make this change. Unless we want to dig in right now. But I do like the idea of the diversity, and you're right, Chris, it's not codified in here per se. It seems like it always has been, you know, it was a Garmin for many years when I first started as well, kind of a person.
How many employees over there?
We have 500, a little over 500.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and I think though the engagement is kind of self-driven. I mean,
Sure.
Garmin is interested in this, so they're always, you know, they're always involved and applying, so. Probably would happen even if we didn't codify it, but why don't we put it on the agenda for next time, talk about if we want to codify that additional.
Will we have to worry about the number as well? Because right now we have an odd number, so will we have to add 2 to keep an odd number? Or is there a?
Well, if we want to go bigger as well.
You wanted to expand it, yeah.
Are we just saying, is there a free opening that's like in here that's not codified that says, hey, it has to be someone from this demographic or from?
No, the only thing, 2 active pilots, the National Guard and
Ward 2 resident.
Okay.
So we need.
and then
And a
the
lot
rest
of
are.
times we have duplication, you know, you might have a Ward 2 resident as a pilot, or variety of different people that fit both of those potentially. So yeah, let's talk a little bit more about next time, I think.
Yep.
I think the other question, maybe this is a question you could find out the answer. Is it within our purview to recommend increasing the size? Or is this something that's set in whatever SRC 9.3?
We'll ask for that. Mark, do you know?
No, I don't know if it's, I don't have the code
mean-
section handy,
Okay.
but you know, it's all changeable by council. I mean,
Yeah, I imagine you can recommend anything.
if you want to recommend, especially if you're saying we want to expand it to include representation from these different perspectives, or, you know.
I just say just change the word to minimum of 7 required. And then you can have as many as you want, right?
We have a hand from Mayor Hoy.
Mayor Hoy?
Yeah, sorry, thank you. Mark was right, spot on. That's what was going to be my response. And it may be as simple as a question to the city attorney from the chair to find out how you go about this and what's possible and what the process would be to make those kinds of changes, even in terminology, to give you a little more freedom.
Okay.
Do you agree, Mark?
Yeah, I think, again, you could make a recommendation to the council and you just have a basis for your recommendation. I don't know, I mean, I'm not the city attorney. I don't know if you could leave it as open-ended as a minimum. Because I think the boards and commissions component of the council would need to know, well, what's the upper limit of the size of this group? You know, how many people do we appoint? So, so I think you probably would have to have, you know, we want to increase it by 2 members to 9 or 4 members to 11 or whatever. I think that's probably easier than leaving it kind of open-ended like that.
Yeah. I would agree with that. The other piece, you know, God bless you guys who find this particular commission so interesting and you show up. It's not always this easy to get people to volunteer to serve on these boards and commissions. And the Boards and Commissions Committee is looking at how we are set up. And it's a great time if you guys do want to change something or have something be different, for us to consider that as well. And and the way that the city communicates the boards and commissions vacancies, you know, is hopefully going to be improving, because it's not always been super great. I think, is it Judith?
Yes.
Judith alluded to that, and you know, because Councillor Nishioka brought it to her attention, it made sense. So word of mouth is certainly something, but the entire process is sort of being examined. Entire's my word, but the process is being examined, and hopefully we'll get better about that. So, does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you for that. So I propose that I'll reach out to the city and kind of come up with a proposal for each of these, the increasing size and adding some more specificity to some of those new positions around and technically you guys would already fit that bill, but at least having that codified. And then I'll bring it to the next meeting for us to discuss. And then it would be, after that, the exit would be, or the offering from there would be an official recommendation from this commission to the city. Any other thoughts or comments?
Sounds good to me.
Just don't talk about it any more than just 2 at a time.
Yeah.
Yep. No serial meetings. The ethics commission penalty is $1,000 and the city doesn't pay it. So, just be, we aren't trying to scare you, but just be mindful that you can't talk to one person and have the same conversation with 2 more other people. It's just, so.
May I just second that? It's a complicated time in new territory and a lot of just a lot flying around. So just be really cautious. We don't need invitation for any problems for anybody.
We were all required to take the public meeting training.
Oh,
And
Completed.
everybody took it?
Yeah.
Good, I'm good. Did I get it right?
And I don't know, I'm looking forward to the work of the League of Cities with the Ethics Commission. And so things may not always be as they are right now, but as it is right now, an abundance of caution is required.
Yep. Last but not least, please do the introduction for our newest member. Actually, I'm gonna let you give us a quick rundown, James.
Well, I'm James Hutches, and I am the aviation teacher for specifically piloting over at SeaTech Aviation. So we have the hangar just right over on the corner over here by the balloon launcher. And so we're in the middle of we're about to finish this first semester of our 3rd year on there. And we currently have about 100 students right now.
Nice.
That come from all of our high schools around the area. And they come in, they're in 2 different cohorts. So we see half of them on an A day, which is a Tuesday and a Thursday. We see the other half on a Wednesday and a Friday. And A and B days. And then we have both of them for about 2.5 hours on a Monday. And then they spend the rest of their time at their resident high school, whichever high school that they're at, McNary, McKay, Sprague, all of those. And so we bus them right over here to the hangar, and they come in, and so they get education in either piloting. For first year they get all of it, but piloting, aviation maintenance, and drone technology. And so they get all of that, and then they get to specialize in their senior year and really focus in on one of those areas where we have actually some that actually double major. And so they are at the hangar every single day coming out. So it's been awesome. We've already had some pretty amazing opportunities to go to all kinds of different places, and Garmin's been an amazing partner with that, helping us out. We've got a lot of different things that are over at the hangar. So if you haven't come by, come and take a tour. We have our students will give you a tour. And it's better to hear from them instead of me, which is great. So they're excited, and just from my side on that, I've got at least I've got about 30 pilots that are going through, and we're preparing for their written exam on here that they'll take in about a month. So we'll pay for them to go out there and take their private pilot written exam. So they're studying really hard for that. We have simulators inside there. We have a whole host of Snap-on tools that they get to work on, and certification sets that they work on. In fact, we just got some metal coming in, so they're working on some different sheet metal type stuff for that. And then we have our drone team goes out to our other SeaTech area, and they do construction where they're building a house. And so our drone team actually does progress reports on that, and they do videos to kind of document the build for it. So yeah, so lots of exciting stuff going on with that. And
Cool.
I'm happy to be here.
You're a good salesman. Notice I asked about you and you told us all about the program, which is an amazing program. My only complaint
Yeah,
is that it's not open to people that aren't in high school, so.
I agree. I get that a lot, actually.
I was gonna
Yeah.
bring that up.
That's true. Yeah. Well, and as far as me, I've been flying since I was 16. And I got my license solo before I had my driver's license down in Louisiana. I used to, after college, I ran a small airport down in Arkansas. Was on a management for that and learned a lot. Did a runway expansion. Dealt with a lot of fun stuff. So I've always been an airport person. I worked for SkyWest Airlines for several years in Eugene. So I ran the kind of terminal area for boarding and for the ground ops and promoted over to Jacksonville, Wyoming. I was over there for that. I was here when that wall had a hole in it when we brought Delta in here. So I trained at the station here for Delta. So I've been around here for a little bit. So love the airport
And Civil Air Patrol.
and Civil Air Patrol. Yeah, I'm a pilot for the Civil Air Patrol. So, and one of the state incident commanders. So whenever we get a call from the Air Force Rescue Coordination Center, I'm on call right now, actually. So, so we coordinate that and we go send somebody out and send one of our crews out to do photography or whatever we do. So,
Nice,
yeah,
well, welcome.
I've got to stay busy out there. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm really happy to be out here and support the airport. So,
Mayor Hoy,
Yes. Yep.
if you think back to the airport work session we had last year, one of the things that a couple of the counselors had asked was, could we have a presentation in front of council by the CTEC program?
Yep. I
and
was,
we know your calendar is really busy right now, but maybe as we look forward towards the further into the year, do you think that's something we could offer that invitation to CTEC?
Did we lose her?
she's thinking about it hard.
can you guys hear me?
Now we can, yeah.
I hear you now.
God, sorry about that. Mark, I have very little knowledge of what you just said, but I would have those CTEC program kids come to council like every week. So I think it would be amazing, and I think it might have been me that brought it up. Because it's just a sign of our future to see these students involved in this program, and it just naturally to me makes sense that we would have that at the airport. By the way, how do we get a flight school? And that's just a little side note. Anyway, thank you for doing what you're doing, James. Thank you for being a part of this group. I think it's a good time for us to be able to get things really, really rolling in a positive direction at the airport. I appreciate you guys.
So we'll work on maybe a future date this year.
Absolutely.
Cool. Unless there's anything else with that. Going once, going twice on the phone. I'm going ahead and adjourn us. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.
So who